You know that person who sits quietly in a group conversation, not because they have nothing to say, but because they're waiting for the moment when what they say actually matters? The one who leaves a party feeling completely emptied out, even if they laughed the whole time. The one who needs a full day alone just to feel like themselves again after a week of being around people. Maybe that's you. And if it is, I need you to hear this clearly. You are not too much and you are not too little. You are not broken and you are definitely not boring. The world has spent so long telling introverts to speak up, come out of their shell, be more social, as if your natural way of existing in this world is a problem that needs fixing. But psychology has been quietly proving something completely different for decades. And today, we're going to explore the psychology behind introversion. Here's the thing. Most people think introversion is just about being shy or quiet or not liking people, but that's not even close to the real story. The actual explanation lives inside your nervous system, and once you understand it, everything about yourself starts to make a different kind of sense. Psychologists call it cortical arousal theory, first developed by Hans Eysenck in the 1960s, and it fundamentally changed how scientists understand personality. The theory explains that your brain, as an introvert, operates at a naturally higher baseline level of internal stimulation. Your nervous system is already running warm, so when you walk into a loud party, a packed office, or even a long dinner with extended family, your brain doesn't get energized by all that external input. It tips into overload. You hit your limit faster, not because you're weak, but because you were already full before you even walked through the door. Extroverts are the opposite. Their baseline arousal is lower, which is why they chase stimulation, loud music, big crowds, back-to-back social plans. Their brain needs that fuel from the outside world. Yours generates it from within. Think about the last time you had a whole evening to yourself with no plans, no obligations, just your own thoughts and maybe a book or a show you actually wanted to watch. Remember how restored you felt afterward? That wasn't laziness. That was your nervous system doing exactly what it needed to do to bring you back to yourself. And that's where it gets interesting because the science behind this goes even deeper than arousal levels. Neuroscientist Deborah Johnson and her colleagues at the University of Iowa conducted a groundbreaking brain imaging study that actually showed the physical differences in how introverted and extroverted brains process the world. Using PET scans, they found that introverts consistently showed greater blood flow to regions of the brain associated with internal processing, areas linked to memory recall, problem solving, planning, and self-reflection. Extroverts, by contrast, showed more activity in regions connected to sensory processing and external experience. What this means in plain language is that your brain is wired to go inward. It's not avoiding the world, it's processing it more deeply. Think of it this way. An extrovert's brain is like a busy highway, fast-moving, constantly taking in new traffic, energized by the flow. Your brain is more like a deep-sea research vessel. It moves more slowly on the surface, but it's going places most people never reach. And here's the twist that surprises almost everyone. This depth of processing is directly connected to creativity, empathy, and insight. Many of the most influential thinkers, writers, scientists, and leaders throughout history were introverts, not despite their introversion, but because of it. Your brain's tendency to sit with ideas, turn them over, examine them from every angle, that's not overthinking, that's how breakthroughs actually happen. But here's something most people don't talk about, and it's the part that can quietly hurt the most. Living in a world built for extroverts takes a toll, not a dramatic, obvious toll, a slow, accumulating one. When every school, every workplace, every social expectation is designed around speaking up, networking, being visible, and performing energy you don't always have, you start to internalize a story that something is fundamentally wrong with you. You might have spent years trying to be louder, more outgoing, more available, pushing yourself into social situations that drained you completely, then wondering why you felt so exhausted and disconnected afterward. Some introverts develop what psychologists call the extrovert performance, a mask they wear so convincingly that even the people closest to them don't realize how much energy it costs. You show up, you engage, you laugh at the right moments, and then you get home, close the door, and feel like you've just run a marathon in shoes that were never your size. This is the shadow side of introversion that rarely gets talked about. It's not just about needing quiet, it's about the grief that can come from spending so much of your life performing a version of yourself that doesn't quite fit, and the loneliness of feeling like the real you, the thoughtful, deep, quietly observant you, is somehow too much or not enough for the world around you. Here's how this actually shows up in your relationships and your daily life, because this is where it gets personal. You probably have a small circle of people you're genuinely close to, and you do almost anything for them. But you also cancel plans sometimes, not because you don't care, but because your social battery hit zero, and you know that showing up empty doesn't serve anyone. You probably prefer deep one-on-one conversations over group settings where the conversation stays surface level all night. Small talk doesn't just bore you, it genuinely drains you because your brain is wired for meaning and connection, not performance. And in relationships, you might sometimes feel misunderstood by partners or friends who interpret your need for alone time as distance or rejection, when really it's the opposite. You need that time to come back to yourself so that when you do show up, you're actually there, fully present, genuinely engaged, not just physically in the room while your mind is somewhere else trying to recover. This is completely normal. Your way of loving people isn't less, it's just quieter. And the people who take the time to understand that will tell you it's one of the most steady, sincere kinds of love they've ever experienced. Society has a long-standing obsession with extroversion. Loud equals confident, talkative equals smart, social equals successful. And somewhere along the way, quiet became something to fix. But psychology has been saying the opposite for years. Susan Cain, in her landmark research and best-selling book, Quiet, argued that the world has a serious introvert problem, not because introverts are the problem, but because we've built systems that systematically undervalue them. Your depth is not a deficit. Your need for solitude is not selfishness. Your preference for meaning over noise is not antisocial. It's actually one of the most human things about you. You don't need to become someone else to be valuable. You never did. So if this resonated with you, I'd love to know, what's one thing you wish people understood about you as an introvert? Drop it in the comments because I genuinely want to read them. And if you want to go even deeper, the next video covers the psychology of people who feel everything too deeply, why your emotions hit harder than most, and why that might actually be your greatest strength. I'll see you there.